Welcome back, everyone, to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. I'm Bobby C. I'll be your host. Today, we're going to be talking about how to become a religious alcoholic addict in 90 days and 90 meetings. Hmm. And through the 12 easy steps, even if you're not, even if you're not an alcoholic or addict. Stay tuned. And I will show you exactly how the programming works. Okay, so you're coming into treatment. You're getting into detox. Yeah, that's good. 2, 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. Where are they going to send you? Where are they going to aftercare? Where are they going to put you? Aftercare? Send you to a rehab? Maybe a halfway house? Maybe a sober living house? There's thousands of them. Into a treatment center, alcohol and drug treatment center. They're going to send you to a therapist, maybe back to your doctor. The indoctrination is everywhere. It's going to come from the medical, Hollywood, media, court systems, psychiatrists, alcoholic substance abuse counselors that were in Alcoholics Anonymous for 3, 6 months. Then they want to become counselors, you know. They want to start making some money quick. And I've seen it happen many, many times. DUI, the indoctrination just doesn't stop. It's it spreads like an octopus. It has tentacles all through society. It's been programmed into society for 91 years. I remember when I came in, when I went in, over 41 years ago, there was no internet. I didn't know of any other choices. They labeled me alcoholic. Of course, I had a problem, right, with alcohol. My mother-in-law labeled her father alcoholic, and I had, I was labeled alcoholic. So I took on that identity even before I went to Alcoholics Anonymous. The programming is all over. It's it's a psyche. It's a phenomena that has been perpetuating through society for 91 years. If you don't think you're picking it up, we're getting it from our parents, from our doctors, from our lawyers, from our go to drug court, go to alcohol and drug court, be mandated where you're going to be mandated. Go get a DUI. Let's say you're 16 years old, 15, 16, 17, 18. Driver's license is what, 16 nowadays? You you get you're using recreational, you're using out, you're experimenting with alcohol and drugs. You're driving, you get popped, DUI, first offense. Man, I'll tell you what, I should do a podcast, and I think I will, just on the DUI process. It's crazy. Go to school 10. They're going to send you, they're going to give you a list. They're going to send you, you're going to go to Alcoholics Anonymous because it's the easy, closest way. You can go in there and try to fake your way through without getting brainwashed. Interventionist. You get an intervention. You got popped a couple times. Your parents are concerned. I understand that. I I'm a parent. I have two daughters. I have 5 grandchildren. I've been married 53 years. So I understand the concerns of parents. It's real. It's a big, but the parents, we were indoctrinated through society, programmed into believing Alcoholics Anonymous is the gold standard and they're going to save you and God's going to save you. Now, if you make it, if you stay in there, it's AA did it. They'll take the credit for it and God will take the credit for it. They call them relapse. If you go back out and use, they're going to blame you. When all along, it's always been you because we are the solution, we are the cure, we are the way. They'll take credit for it. All the other programs will take credit for it. Yeah, drug court, parents, intervention. They get around parents, friends, tell you you're in denial. Yeah. Denial is a big thing. They'll tell you you're in denial. They'll tell you you need to surrender. Let go. Let God. Let me put you in a rehab. 90 days, 90 meetings. In a rehab, you get bombarded with it. Matter of fact, who runs the groups in the rehabs are the people that they have a few months sober and they are, man, they're the king. They come back into the group and they tell you about the sponsor they have. They tell you about the meetings. They tell you they're working the steps. They tell you they got God. They tell you everything. And they become the peer-to-peer mentor. After that, you come out of there after a sober living house, halfway house, you'll go to meetings and then you'll meet your priest there, your sponsor. Alcoholics Anonymous and the church, the religious in the church and Alcoholics Anonymous is no different. There's no different because the only way is their way and it has to be a spiritual conversion. God, it has to be a spiritual conversion. You know the story about, let me tell you a little example here. When I was back in one of my home groups, the gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, but I got to know him very well, got to know his family. And he had like back then he had like 35 years. I think he died with 50, I don't know, 50 years. His daughter never drank, never took a drop. She didn't drink. He made sure she went to Alcoholics Anonymous because she was she had a predisposition. She was predisposed because the genetics could skip a generation. My mom and dad, I never seen them drunk. Oh, it was my grandparents, my uncles, my grandparents came from them. Skipped a generation. It's progressive, right? Yeah, even if you're not an alcoholic, you'll become an alcoholic when you get into the meetings and say, my name is Bobby C. and I am an addict. I am an alcoholic. Once an addict, once an alcoholic, always an addict, always an alcoholic, a self-fulfilling prophecy. hmm Look, let me just show you in this book. The next podcast, please help us grow. We need to grow. The deprogramming um, community. We need to grow. Please subscribe, like, comment, and please share. Let's grow the community because Alcoholics Anonymous is still growing. They're still putting out books. My next podcast, I'm going to be programming the first step. I'm going to do a series of the steps, deprogramming each step and each tradition from the big book, from the step book, and from the new plain language big book. Yeah. There's no difference. Remember Roland? Remember Carl Jung? He said, "I can't help you." Matter of fact, the whole story's in the big book with Carl Jung. I'm not going to look through it right now. It'll come to me. They have all the stories in here. The jaywalkers. Yeah, I'll get into it. Uh, Let me get back to this here in the 12 and 12. Listen to this. Relentless deepening dilemma. Our sponsors pointed out our increasing sensitivity to alcohol and allergy, they called it. Silkworth called it an allergy. Silkworth talked about the phenomena of craving. What did Silkworth know? But prescribing the belladonna treatment at Towns Hospital. He couldn't do nothing there. Bill had this hallucination, called it a spiritual awakening. And where did Silkworth say to go? To the Oxford group. Just like Carl Jung, uh, Dr. Uh, Carl Jung said he couldn't help Roland. Roland, everyone knows who Roland was. He was the one that introduced Ebby, sent Ebby over to Bill, over to Towns Hospital. He went to Europe. He had money, Roland Hazard. He was a wealthy family. Young said, I can't help you. I can't do nothing for you. You're hopeless. You're helpless. Go to the Oxford group. Roland never went to AA. He never attended an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Look it up. He never joined AA. Religion, churches, and AA. It's two wings of the same bird. There's no difference. A, B, and C. You know A, B, and C, right? Now look, listen to A, B, and C in the new. Listen to this. They changed it. They made it worse. In this new book, they made it even harder, right? A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. We couldn't manage them. No. Uh, God drove us to the meetings and God made a decision to take us there. And God made a decision for us to do everything because we couldn't, because we had to turn our will and our life over to the care of God, right? So uh, they steal our identity. The first, the first step is the identity theft. So here, A, B, and C, that no human power could have stopped or changed our alcoholism. That no human power. They took out probably. In the big book, it says probably no human power. In this one, it says no human power. No free will is non-existence in Alcoholics Anonymous. Sad that God could and would if he were. No, this is how they changed it. They took out the word he if he were sought. That God could and would help us if we tried to find God. And if we go out and have a slip, relapse, it's us. We didn't seek God. Something's wrong with us. We're damaged. We're broken. We can't be fixed because God's not helping us. Why am I so different? Why can't I have this God thing? Okay? Millions and millions and millions of people. They don't call it a spiritual awakening. In the big book, every story talks about why they how they succeeded, and it was only through a spiritual experience, a spiritual conversion. They don't teach us nothing in Alcoholics Anonymous about the conscious mind, the subconscious, the unconscious, how important the mind is, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. They don't tell us the hidden secrets because it's an occult. Occult means hidden. Okay. Alcoholics Anonymous is a cult with hidden knowledge because Rockefeller designed it and created it. They all know the occult, all know the secrets, the hidden secrets. We create self-fulfilling prophecies, yes, which is a psychological phenomena, person expecting or believes about a situation which led to the actions that make their expectations come true. I am an alcoholic. I am an addict. Once an alcoholic, once an addict. Oh, here we go. So remember the low bottom cases in the very beginning. It is tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years, this step book was written 16 years later after the big book. 16 years later. And then this other book, I don't know, from 1950, you're talking 50, 60, 70 years later, come out with another book 70 years later and make some little tweaks, little changes because they admit they're never going to change it. They're never going to change this book because it's a religion. It's like the Catholic Church is not going to, they make little tweaks, you know, they make little tweaks. And Alcoholics Anonymous will make little tweaks. Low bottom. Okay. So alcoholics who still have their health, their families, their jobs, even two cars in the garage began to recognize their alcoholism. Step one is to get you to break down yourself and make you call yourself, create this identity, this alcoholism identity. That's step one. It breaks it down. Like I said, I'm going to do the podcast and I'll break it down in these two chapters. There is a solution and more about alcoholism. The whole two chapters is to break you down so you surrender and admit you are an alcoholic addict. So the bottom has been risen. As this trend grew, they were joined by young people. And this is why I say young people. Young people, listen to this, joined by young people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics. Potential, they're recreational users. Maybe, because I'm telling you, there's people that go in there that never even taken a drink because they say it's progressive in your body. The words that they use, progressive in your body. Here's some of the words that are in step one in this 12 and 12. These are some of the words they use. You have to do it to stay alive. Fatal nature, dying, fatal progression, never recovery on their own. No human willpower can break the mental obsession. These are just some of the languages that they use. So potential. They're like potential alcoholics. hmm Abnormal drinker versus a normal drinker versus a real alcoholic versus a non-alcoholic. They were spared the last 10 to 15 years of literally hell, the rest of us had gone through. Since step one requires an admission that our lives had become unmanageable. Admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Surrender. powerless over alcohol, and our lives are unmanageable. Just think about that. Remember, I said that this is how to become a religious alcoholic addict in 90 days, 90 meetings through 12 easy steps, even if you're not an alcoholic. There's people that been an alcoholic anonymous, narcotics anonymous, and they were not this alcoholic or addict. Peer to peer toxicity, toxic relationships in these clubhouses, these clubs, AA clubs, NA clubs, peer helping peer. You got a guy with 3 months sober that don't know nothing about nothing, and he's going to help somebody uh, get clean and sober. Everyone knows that I choose to live an alcohol and drug-free lifestyle. That's my choice. I believe in the power of choice. I believe in the autonomy and the power of choice. I also believe if you're doing harm to other people, then no, it's not right. If you're creating chaos and doing harm to your family, you're stealing, you're robbing, you people say this is not, stigmatism. They talk about stigmatism. It's not a moral issue. I believe it's a moral issue. I chose to pick up. I didn't choose to become addicted, but it's still, I have a conscious uh, mind, and I unchose it. I recreated, rewired my brain, stopped, decided, made a decision to stop because Alcoholics Anonymous knows everything is a decision. They know it. Rockefeller knew it. So does all the motivational speakers. They know it comes from us. Anthony Robbins, if he don't have people coming to him, how does he get his? He needs them. They need us more than we need them, believe me, okay, to keep this thing going. So I would say to the viewers, and that's what they'll say, come join Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous for the rest of your life. Give your will and your life over to the care of AA and God and recruit others for the rest of your life. How's that sound? You want what we have? That doesn't sound very attractive. So yeah, we get indoctrinated if we like it or not through societal indoctrination. I talked to getting back to the guy. Yeah, his daughter she came to the meetings. She used to come to the meetings. They would say it's progressing in your body. I remember when I first came in, the longer you stay sober or clean, it's progressing. If you take a drink or a drug, it's like 1,000 times worse. If you got 5, 10 years, could you imagine? 15 years? What? Oh, your key. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right, getting back. That was my daughter. I had my keys in my pocket. She needed the keys. Um, how to become, let me see, where am I at? Yeah, 90 days, 90 meetings. You're going to get it. You go into detox, you're going to come out if you don't. You get it through intervention, you get it through the court, you get it through DUI, you get it through the rehabs, halfway houses. It's just a big circle. Then you go back out, you have this slip relapse, whatever you want to call it. Go back into the rehab, do the whole cycle again. You're just the reason why you're slipping or whatever, you're drinking or drugging again, it's because you choose to do it. Eventually, you'll find out it has to come from you, no matter what. But they'll blame you. You're the problem. Well, we are. We're the problem and the solution. But guess what? when we start changing in harm reduction, people are talking about doing less harm. They're going off of heroin and maybe going into some other type of recreational drug or some other. Maybe they're doing California sober. They're smoking cannabis or they're doing some ketamine or creton or psychedelics or microdosing or whatever. They're doing less harm. Oh, God, that would be like you say that in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. If someone's working towards a goal, a greater goal for health, I believe, yeah, we have the freedom to do whatever we want. But is it, do we have the freedom to damage our bodies? I mean, yeah, we do. But is that like natural law? Is that universal law? Is that cosmic law? Thinking, is that common sense? You know? I believe in improvement. I got a comment somebody told me said Bobby at the last podcast I did a short on this here and he said he or she I don't know who it was said you should do some inventory. Well, the only inventory you can do in Alcoholics Anonymous is a circle jerk. Fourth and fifth, sixth and seventh is the God thing. Eighth and ninth is constantly making amends. You know, 10th step is continue to take personal inventory when I'm wrong, promptly admit it. Shit, I'm wrong. I'd have to say I'm sorry all the bullshit. Okay. Real shadow work, real inventory. I've been doing inventory all my life. Self analysis. Okay. Just get a smart recovery handbook and you'll start doing some self analysis. You'll start doing some shadow work. You'll start doing some inventory. People that the the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I have done inventory. I have done research and investigation into programming. Yeah, I've been deprogramming for years and years, and I still am. So I'm still seeking, you know. I'm still taking inventory. But how about you, the gentleman or lady that commented? Are you still seeking? The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I did take inventory, you know. So you keep on commenting. I don't care. It just gives me some more ammunition, not ammunition. I don't I take that, not ammunition. It gives me some more validation, you know, of how I need to continue uh, doing what I'm doing. Yeah, Roland, uh, Carl, uh, Jungian experience. Uh, he, the psychiatrist and psychologist and psychoanalyst and counseling and counselors and social workers, they're programmed through society too. They're going to send you to the church and they're going to send you to AA or 12 step uh, modalities because they know it has to come from you. But a lot of them aren't into quantum physics. They're not into metaphysics. They're not meta going beyond the physical yet. They're not into any of the new things that are happening. And they're not into natural law. They don't know the hermetic principles of cause and effect and mentalism. And uh, they don't listen to, you know, look, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, they're good. They're good. It's good stuff. I mean, even look, I started to listen to Anthony Robbins 40 years ago. I picked up my first book, The Erroneous Zone, uh, years ago from Wayne Dryer. And I had Anthony Robbins tapes 40 years ago. I was deprogramming. Go beyond the AA triangle. Go beyond recovery into discovery. I always say uncover, recover, and discover the truth about AA, any society, myself, the world, the universe. Uncover, recover, and discover the truth. I'm going to leave it off at that. And I'm going to say goodbye, but check out that next podcast that I'm going to start doing. I'm going to be deprogramming that first step like nobody has. Take care, everybody. Peace out. Bye bye.